We're taking a live look outside on this Friday afternoon. Very cloudy skies over there, but will it produce any rain? Thank you for joining us at noon. I'm China Green. We're gonna have Chris McGinnis with the look at your Friday and weekend forecast.
So it's kind of interesting, China, from that camera that you showed us from the Wells Fargo look, and I'll get back to that in a second. It's actually darker to the north and lighter to the south. In case in point, we go down to Salem. I mean, there's some legit, look at that, shadows, like actual sun breaks down in our state capital right now. So the farther south you go, the more in the way of sunshine we're seeing. It's 58 degrees from Salem. Our Wells Fargo sky camera, the south face of the buildings here over downtown does show some brightness, but as we look up to the north, getting into Clark County and beyond, the clouds are a little thicker, and the temperature right now, actually PDX reporting at least a little drizzle and 58 degrees there. There has been some on and off light rain across the area. It's been more on than off the farther north you go. So up towards Longview and then certainly up towards Tacoma and Seattle. It's been a wet day up there. Down to the south, we're seeing sun breaks, and that's kind of what I expect to continue here the rest of this afternoon, with maybe one or two spits of rain here in the metro area. Otherwise, kind of in and out of the clouds, mostly in, I think, here in Portland. And as a result, the temperatures aren't going very far today. Probably getting up to about 60 and then settling down into the mid-50s by early this evening. China, we do have some rain in our weekend forecast, a little bit tomorrow morning and then maybe more Sunday afternoon, but also a lot of dry time. I'll try to walk you through that with Futurecast in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Chris. Government services are beginning to return to normal operations following the end of the nation's longest federal shutdown. Yesterday, Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem announced a $10,000 bonus for TSA agents who provided outstanding service, who didn't call out during the shutdown and picked up extra shifts to help fill the gaps. And we had a news crew at PDX yesterday where TSA lines were moving pretty smoothly, and travelers, for the most part, seemed to be in good spirits.
Our flight from here to Denver wasn't affected, but the Denver to Orlando flight was. And so Southwest rebooked us for a later flight so that our layover wasn't too long. So I'm thankful for that.
Yeah, we were a little nervous, but I was like, you know what, let's just go for it, because sometimes it can be inflated, and let's see. And it's worked out so far.
According to flypdx.com, there are about 18 flight cancellations on the board for today. Of course, that number could change, so check your flight status before you head over to the airport. This afternoon, several people are without a home after a fire in Vancouver late last night. Firefighters responded to this duplex on Southeast Morgan Road near Wintler Park just after 11 and told us that one person was treated for smoke inhalation. Fire investigators are working to determine the cause.
We just have a huge cloud of gas coming out the west side of the Holiday Inn.
In national news, people in Oklahoma are recovering from a terrifying ammonia gas leak right outside of a hotel. Hundreds of people had to be evacuated from their homes, and dozens more were hospitalized with breathing issues. Ryan Chandler has a story.
We just have a huge cloud of gas coming out the west side of the Holiday Inn.
The city of Weatherford, Oklahoma, recovering from a life-threatening haze of toxic gas.
A semi-truck that is leaking some sort of methane or gas onto the property.
Rooms at this Holiday Inn Express quickly filling with a potentially deadly gas early Thursday. Guests and employees felt like there was nowhere to run.
It just hit us like a ton of bricks, like the smell of ammonia that was so overpowering.
Sherry Arcuria was working the front desk when she started to choke.
I remember screaming, I can't breathe, what is happening, I can't breathe.
Authorities say it started with an apparent equipment failure on this air gas tanker truck carrying anhydrous ammonia, a chemical used for farm fertilizer. Hotel employees say the driver of the truck had a reservation there that night.
It's attacking your lungs, the moisture in your lungs, and so it's very, very dangerous.
The leak sent dozens to the hospital, several airlifted to Oklahoma City, listed as life critical. First responders in gas masks going door to door through nearby neighborhoods, telling hundreds to evacuate immediately.
There was people choking. I mean, I was choking. You know, every breath was like a survival gasp.
Several victims remained in intensive care Thursday night, Weatherford police said.
We've had about another 30 patients come in that had been exposed to the fumes. Those individuals that were on the front line jumping in to help and rescue.
Local officials have been testing the air quality here to make sure it's no longer a threat to the public after this terrifying toxic cloud seemed to shut down nearly half the city.
Here's a look at some national headlines this afternoon. The Trump administration plans to lower U.S. tariffs on goods from Switzerland. The tariff rate the U.S. charges on Swiss imports will fall from 39% to 15%. That 39% was among the highest levies the U.S. charges for any country's goods. Wristwatches and medical equipment are among the top goods the U.S. buys from Switzerland. A federal jury in Chicago has ordered Boeing to pay more than $28 million to the family of person killed in the 737 MAX plane crash in Ethiopia in 2019. The verdict is the first of dozens of lawsuits filed after that crash and another MAX plane crash in 2018 in Indonesia. Combined, killed a total of 346 people. A Canadian man is facing charges after he allegedly stole a bus in Ontario. So listen to this. This all began when the driver stopped and went to take a break. That's when the suspect got on the bus and drove off. Authorities say passengers on board initially thought he was the real bus driver because he still made stops. In fact, he even denied entry to one passenger who had an expired bus pass. Police safely stopped the unscheduled ride after 15 minutes and then took the man into custody. And Bad Bunny wins big at the 2025 Latin Grammys in Las Vegas Thursday night. The 31-year-old rapper and singer was nominated for 12 Latin Grammys. He won 5, including his first ever win for Album of the Year. Bad Bunny is set to perform for the Super Bowl halftime show next year. And those are a look at your national headlines. Today, students at several schools in our area walked to school in honor of Ruby Bridges. It was on this day 65 years ago that 6-year-old Ruby Bridges became the first black child to walk into an all-white school in the South. Sunrise reporter Thomas Schultz has a story.
Well, here at Forest Park Elementary School in Northwest Portland, kids took part in a walk to school today to honor Ruby Bridges. You can see the video here of those kids, dozens of them, walking the 10 miles uphill from a cafe to school in honor of Bridges, who 65 years ago today desegregated schools in Louisiana. Let's show you some footage of that as well. Here she is being escorted by federal marshals into the building. By walking through those doors, the 6-year-old put a stamp on a court order mandating the desegregation of schools in Louisiana, and immediately she became a civil rights symbol.
We're celebrating someone who changed Black history, and I think that's good to celebrate.
I think it's really important to teach our children today, like what life was like a long time ago and the progress we've made as a nation.
And it's not just today that kids here at Forest Park Elementary are learning about Bridges. Parents tell us that their students have been learning about her for quite some time, so they're getting a lot of knowledge about a civil rights icon. And it's not just here in Portland where Ruby Bridges is being celebrated today. Down in Salem-Keizer, kids walked out of an elementary school there as well at 8:15 this morning to honor Bridges. They also had an assembly in her honor afterward. In Northwest Portland, Thomas Schultz, KGW News.